September 2025. A new nameplate appears on the door of the Pentagon's leader, Secretary of War. This simple change of signage makes you wonder, what is American leadership built on? And what makes the US the planet's only superpower in a rapidly changing world? The return of this archaic term is not just a multi-million-dollar marketing ploy, but a powerful signal. To allies, it says the US is ready to act tough. To adversaries, it signals an open return to the language of force. This announcement forces a reevaluation of the foundations of American power. The pillars of American power: what's strong, what's cracking. US strength isn't just a $900 billion military budget, but a whole ecosystem of interconnected elements. Let's walk through them to understand whether the new nameplate is a symbol of strength or an admission that soft power is no longer enough. 1. The military machine: budget, bases, and jobs. The US defense budget in 2025 is nearly $900 billion, more than China, Russia, India, Germany, and the United Kingdom spend combined. This money is distributed across several key areas. Personnel: nearly half the budget goes to salaries, pensions, and healthcare for over 2 million service members. Bases: a third of the funds are spent on maintaining over 5,000 military installations worldwide. Hardware: a quarter of the budget is for weapons procurement. Research: about 15% is invested in developing future technologies, from hypersonics to military AI. It's important to understand that the defense budget is also a powerful domestic economic engine. Every state has a factory or contractor tied to the Pentagon. For a member of Congress, voting for defense appropriations means voting for jobs for their constituents. An attempt to close any major defense plant would be met with fierce resistance. 2. The Achilles heel: growing debt and its servicing. However, a question arises: how long can America sustain such spending? In August 2025, the US national debt exceeded $37 trillion. Even more alarming are the rapidly growing interest payments on it. Due to the Federal Reserve's sharp rate hikes to 5.5%, the cost of servicing the debt is now comparable to the defense budget. Projections show that by 2030, these payments will exceed $1 trillion per year. This means a significant portion of the budget will go not to the military or infrastructure, but to creditors. In the event of a new major crisis requiring a sharp increase in military spending, a vicious cycle would emerge. The deficit would accelerate debt growth, which in turn would increase interest payments. The volume of borrowing is becoming a constraint on American power. 3. Weapons exports: a goldmine and a tool of influence. But there is another side to the coin. The US not only spends more on its military than anyone else, but also earns more from it, controlling about 43% of the global arms market. Every sale of fighter jets or missile defense systems to clients like Saudi Arabia, Japan, or Eastern European countries is not just a contract, but a long-term dependency on service, parts, and training. This export brings in a trade surplus, supports hundreds of thousands of jobs, and reduces the cost of weapons for the US military itself. For example, thanks to Allies' orders, the price of the F-35 fighter jet becomes more affordable for the US Air Force. A closed loop is created. The more the US spends on its own army, the more it can sell, and the more it sells, the cheaper its own military machine becomes. 4. The energy revolution: a financial safety cushion. Over the past 15 years, the US has undergone an energy revolution, radically changing its economy. From the largest importer of oil, 60% of consumption in the 2000s, the country has become a net exporter. Production exceeds 13 million barrels per day, and the US is the world leader in gas production. This has had a triple effect. Savings: the hundreds of billions dollar annual deficit that used to flow out for imports has disappeared. Revenue: liquefied natural gas, LNG, exports bring in tens of billions in foreign currency earnings. Competitive advantage: cheap domestic energy, averaging 8 cents per kilowatt hour for industry versus 20 plus in the EU, brings manufacturing back and creates jobs. The energy boom has become a financial shock absorber, helping the US withstand the pressure of its growing debt. 5. The dollar, the cornerstone of the global economy. The main source of US financial strength is its currency. About 58% of the world's foreign exchange reserves are denominated in dollars, and its share in international payments reaches 60%. The dollar is not just banknotes, but the entire infrastructure, the deepest and most liquid financial markets, and the status of a risk-free asset for treasury bonds. During crises, the Fed extends dollar swap lines to central banks worldwide, becoming an invisible stabilizer for the entire system. Although China promotes the yuan and BRICS talks about de-dollarization, these are still exceptions. The strength of the dollar is trust in American institutions, law, and markets. But it's also a burden. Any crack in that trust would strike the entire system. 6. Soft power, exporting a lifestyle and a dream. The dollar is backed by another unique asset, American culture and way of life. Hollywood, Silicon Valley, Harvard, and Stanford are brands that give the US more influence than any aircraft carrier. Culture. The American entertainment industry brings in about $1 trillion per year. Education. 7 of the world's top 10 universities are American, attracting and retaining the best minds from the planet, like Elon Musk or Sergey Brin. Technology. Companies like Apple, Google, and Meta shape the digital lives of billions of people. When the entire world voluntarily uses American products and aspires to American ideals, it creates an ecosystem of influence without equal. 7. Technology and chips, the most important battle of the 21st century. All symbols of American influence, from the iPhone to ChatGPT, are based on microchips. And here, the US has a serious vulnerability. American companies, NVIDIA, Intel, AMD, control nearly half the global market by revenue, but only 12% of global production. 60% of chips are made by Taiwan's TSMC. The modern economy and military run on chips. The shortage during the pandemic paralyzed auto plants, showing the strategic threat. In response, Washington passed the CHIPS Act, allocating $52.7 billion to bring production back. Intel, TSMC, and Samsung are already building plants in the US. But this is a race against time. China, graduating 4 times as many engineers, is investing hundreds of billions in its own industry, aiming for self-sufficiency by 2030. The US has responded with harsh export restrictions, starting a technological Cold War. The next 5 years will be decisive. Whoever controls the most advanced chips will control AI and the technologies of the future. Challenges and a multipolar world. For the first time in many years, American leadership faces serious competitors. China, through the Belt and Road Initiative, is creating its own ecosystem of influence, and BRICS nations, whose collective GDP now exceeds the G7, are talking about their own financial system. Europe, after the energy crisis, is striving for strategic autonomy from American gas and technology. The Gulf states are increasingly engaging in multipolar diplomacy, considering trading oil for yuan. The world is becoming not bipolar, but multipolar, where each center of power offers something different. Conclusion: strength or desperation? The United States remains the most powerful nation, its might based on a well-oiled machine. Energy independence supports the dollar. The dollar allows for cheap funding of innovation, and innovation strengthens the technological lead. However, for the first time, this mechanism is under systemic pressure. The return of the Secretary of War nameplate is an acknowledgement of this new reality. When soft power faces growing competition, hard power remains a trump card that no one else has. But does the US risk alienating wavering allies with tough rhetoric? In a multipolar world, the winner will be the one who offers the best package of services, not just military protection. The new nameplate is a symbol of a readiness to play tougher. The question is whether this will help preserve leadership or accelerate the search for alternatives.